Hi, I'm Jacob Kelly. This is my second industry interview presentation, and for this interview, I interviewed Cameron Grassier. Some background on Cameron Grassier is that he was a collegiate soccer player at Jacksonville University, a semi-pro with the U23 Jacksonville Armada, who also played in the U.S. Open Cup, a founder of the Breakaway Academy in Atlanta, Georgia, which does camps and clinics, as well as it previously did after-school programs, and they used Silverbacks Park. And he also has 4 years of directing experience at SSA and Inter Atlanta FC. He's more recently at Inter Atlanta FC. Those are some pictures of him right there on the right. So, summary of this interview, we really wanted to focus on academics while in school and also being able to find stability in the industry, how you make that first step. We talked about how the academics are different between student athletes and students, how to maintain consistency and accountability, the difficulty finding stability once you step into the industry, where can you go to not only make money, but also to maintain a livelihood. I talked about balancing multiple jobs, finding out which one is more important, and finding out how to maintain consistency in both areas. And filling big shoes, maintaining consistency, and maintaining respect while also stepping into a position that was previously held by other people that have had more experience than you. So the key points, as previously mentioned, we talked about accountability and work ethic and motivation. He talked a lot about the first time that his first semester at Clayton State. He had a 2.7 GPA. He tried to get into Georgia State, actually, and couldn't because of academics. And so he had to focus on building up his academics before he could go to a different school. And that was where Clayton State came in, got that 2.7, put it up on his wall. Then he eventually got a 3.5 and never had less than a 3.5 in any other one of his semesters. He had difficulty finding stability. He jumped around from being a parapro to doing moving jobs and coaching until he was able to find a full-time job as a director at SSA and founding Breakaway Academy. We talked about balancing multiple jobs, understanding what's important, and finding out what makes you happy. Finding the things that you want to do is huge in this, and finding which one holds more importance. We talked about SSA and Breakaway, that he had to take a step back with Breakaway because SSA was taking up more time and it was the more important job at the time. We also talked about filling big shoes. He stepped into John Downey's role, who I previously interviewed in my first interview, who was there for 17 years as the director of academy at Inter Atlanta FC. And he was stepped into that role this year. We talked about how big of a step that was and how hard it is to maintain that expectation. He said it was hard, but he's comfortable doing so. And he's ready to maintain that consistency. So what I learned was to make my connections now, and so I have people that I can go to in the sports administration field. He had connections at GSA as soon as he got out of college, as soon as he stopped playing with the Jacksonville Armada, to go coaching there because that's where he played when he grew up in this Noble area in Lilburn. And he immediately went there to go coach until he was able to find a full-time job. I also learned what needs the most priority in my life at any given point and understand how to manage my responsibilities. This is huge because I need to figure out how I can manage each one of my job or my school or my family and friends, how to maintain everything in my life while staying and maintaining happiness. So one doesn't overweigh another one that needs to be weighted higher, or one doesn't make me feel bogged down and not have the ability to enjoy what I'm doing. And I also learned how to take challenges and keep pushing myself. His quote right there at the bottom is one that he always tells his players and always tells the other coaches, is that you need to keep pushing yourself. Me personally, I always strive to be the best that I possibly can be. I always strive to be the best in any way or fashion, and I just need to continue to improve, and that's how I always looked at things. What I could have done differently and what I did well. What I did well, I think, is I did good research into who I was interviewing and I kept it conversational. If I didn't keep it conversational, probably wouldn't have gone the way that I wanted it to or gotten the information out. What I could have done better is organizing my questions a little bit more. Question 10, I feel like should have been a little bit earlier in the interview to keep it around the other things that were happening earlier. And I could have dug more into what he does as work, what his job is, and things like that. And thank you so much.